At Thanksgiving dinner, my aunt revealed that my parents had been saving a college fund for my brother but left me to struggle alone, saying he was their greatest investment. Rebecca at my company Christmas party while my wife Sarah was at home with our 6-month-old daughter, and I told it was just the whiskey talking. That's how it started. That's how 32 years of being the good son, the reliable husband, the dependable father, all crumbled in one moment of selfish stupidity. But let me back, because this story doesn't really start with Rebecca's lips on mine in the supply closet. It starts 3 months earlier at Thanksgiving dinner, when my Aunt Linda opened her mouth and destroyed everything I thought I knew about my family. We were all gathered around my parents' dining room table. The usual suspects: Mom, Dad, my younger brother Marcus, his new girlfriend Jessica, Aunt Linda and Uncle Pete, and me with Sarah and baby Emma. Sarah was exhausted, bouncing Emma on her lap while trying to eat, and I was thinking about how we'd been fighting about money again that morning. Know what I'm thankful for this year? Aunt Linda announced, already 3 glasses of deep. Mom her a warning look, but Linda was on a roll. I'm thankful that Marcus finally graduated med school. All that hard work paid off, didn't it, Jant? My mother smiled tightly. We're very proud of both our boys. Oh please, Linda laughed, that cruel edge creeping into her voice. Don't pretend it was the same. We all know Marcus was greatest investment. Put everything into him. The room went dead quiet except for Emma's babbling. Sarah looked confused. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Linda, that's enough, my father said quietly. But Linda wasn't done. What? It's not like it's a secret anymore. Marcus is a doctor now. The money saved for his college, his med school, that fancy apartment during residency. Meanwhile, poor David here had to take out student loans and work 3 jobs just to get his bachelor's degree. The words hit me like a physical. College fund. They had a college fund. For Marcus, not for me, had a college fund. Sarah asked, looking at my parents. I thought said couldn't afford to help with David's education. My mother's face had gone pale. Linda, need to stop. Why? He's 32 years old, Janet. Don't think he deserves to know the truth. That decided when he was 15 that Marcus was the smart one, the one worth investing in. That literally told me at his high school graduation that David was good with his hands, and would figure it out. I stared at my parents. 20 years of believing I wasn't smart enough, wasn't worthy of their financial help. 20 years of thinking I was the screw-up, the disappointment. 20 years to prove I was worth something. Is it true? I asked quietly. My father cleared his throat. Son, it's complicated. It's not complicated, Dad. Did save money for Marcus's college or not? We thought Marcus had more potential for higher education. We're always more practical, more hands-on. Code for not smart enough to waste money on. Sarah was staring at me, Emma still bouncing on her lap. I could see her putting the pieces together. All those nights I worked overtime to pay off student loans. The arguments about money. The stress that had been eating our marriage alive. How much? I asked. David, Mom started. How much did save for him that didn't save for me? The silence stretched. Finally, Dad spoke. But we also helped with medical school, and the down payment on his condo. 80,000, maybe more. While I destroyed my back working construction through college. While Sarah and I had eaten ramen for dinner so we could make loan payments, while we'd put off having kids because we couldn't afford daycare. Marcus was staring at his plate, not meeting my eyes. He'd known, of course he'd known. We did what we thought was best, Mom said defensively. Marcus was always so academically gifted. We're good at other things. Like being a convenient scapegoat for their guilt. I stood, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Sarah, we're leaving. David, please, Dad said. Let's talk about this. Talk about what? How lied to me for 17 years. How watched me struggle and never once mentioned that had nearly $100,000 sitting in an account for greatest investment. Those words. Greatest investment, they would echo in my head for months. Sarah was gathering Emma's things, not saying anything, but I could feel her anger radiating across the table. Not at me, at them. For the first time in years we were on the same side. We drove home in complete silence. Emma had fallen asleep in her car seat. When we got home, Sarah put the baby down and then turned to me in our tiny kitchen. I can't believe them, she said quietly. All this time, I thought we were struggling because that's just how it was for everyone. I never imagined they were playing favorites like that. I sat down at our scarred kitchen table, the one we'd bought secondhand because we couldn't afford new furniture. I feel like such an... We're not in, they are. What kind of parents do that to their own child? The kind who decide one son is worth investing in and the other isn't. The kind who let believe are not good enough when they've rigged the game from the start. That night, lying in bed next to Sarah, I felt something break inside me. Not just my relationship with my parents but something deeper. My sense of self. My understanding of my place in the world. Everything I'd built my identity on was a lie. I wasn't the screw-up son who couldn't measure. I was the son they'd never given a real chance. And that anger, that betrayal, that feeling of being less than. It started eating at me from the inside. I started staying late at work, not because I had to, but because home reminded me of everything I couldn't provide for my family. Sarah tried to talk to me, but I was drowning in resentment. When Rebecca started flirting with me at work, when she started staying late too, when she started asking about my marriage, my problems for the first time in months, I felt like someone saw me as worth something. She was 24, single, no kids. She laughed at my jokes. She thought I was smart. She didn't see me as the practical son, the one who was good with his hands but not worth a real investment. I told I was just being friendly, just venting to a coworker, just enjoying the attention from someone who didn't know my history. Who didn't see me as second best. The Christmas party was supposed to be harmless. Sarah was home with Emma, who'd been fussy all day. I almost didn't go, but Marcus would be there with Jessica, showing off his new doctor salary, and I couldn't face pretending everything was fine between us. I had 3 drinks, then 4. Rebecca looked beautiful in her red dress. She kept touching my arm when she laughed. She kept saying how much she admired me, how hardworking I was, how lucky Sarah was. When she pulled me into the supply closet, I should have walked away. I should have remembered my wife at home, my daughter who depended on me, the vows I'd made. Instead I her back, and in that moment I destroyed everything good I had left. The affair lasted 3 months. 3 months of sneaking around, of elaborate lies, of being two different people. At work, I was confident, desired, worth something. At home, I was distant, guilty, dying inside. Rebecca made me feel like the man my parents never believed I could be. She listened to my stories about the Thanksgiving revelation with genuine outrage. She told me I deserved better. She made me believe, for a few stolen hours each week, that I was someone's greatest investment. Sarah knew something was wrong. She'd catch me checking my phone at weird hours. Notice when I came home later than usual. See how I'd flinch when she touched me. But she was exhausted from taking care of Emma alone most of the time, dealing with her own postpartum depression, and trying to manage our finances on one income while I worked late, constantly. The worst part it wasn't even the lying. It was how good it felt to be wanted. How Rebecca would look at me like I was someone worth her time, someone worth choosing. My parents had spent my whole making me feel like I was second best, and here was someone who made me feel first. I told I deserved this. After years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who never got the college fund or the support or the benefit of the doubt, didn't I deserve to feel special for once? God, I was pathetic. It all fell apart on Valentine's Day. Sarah had planned a quiet dinner at home after Emma went to bed. She'd gotten a babysitter for the next evening so we could go out, just the two of us. She was trying so hard to reconnect, to fix what we both knew was broken. My phone buzzed during dinner. A text from Rebecca: missing tonight. I was Valentine. I thought I'd deleted it quickly enough. I was wrong. Sarah had seen the notification preview. She went completely still, fork halfway to her mouth. Who's Rebecca? She asked quietly. The lie came automatically. Someone from work. Probably sent it to the wrong person. Show me phone. My turn to ice. What? Show me cone, David. Right now. I could have confessed then. Could have told her everything, begged for forgiveness. Tried to save what was left of us. Instead, I doubled down. I'm not showing my phone. Don't trust me. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she walked to the bedroom, and came back with her laptop. I've been tracking our phone bill online for months, trying to find places to costs, she said, opening it on the kitchen table. Funny thing about text messages. They show in usage history with timestamps. My stomach dropped through the floor. She scrolled through pages of data, highlighting with her finger. Here's a text to Rebecca at 10 p.m. on January 15th, and another at 7:23 a.m. on January 18th. And here, oh look, 17 texts on January 20th alone. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. Want to explain to me why texting someone 17 times in one day, David? Someone whose name never mentioned to me once. Sarah, I can explain. Don't. Her voice was shaking. Don't dare lie to me anymore. I can see months of this. Months of calls and texts at all hours. While I've been home alone with our daughter, wondering why my husband acts like I disgust him. Don't disgust me. Then why are someone else? The words hung in the air like a sentence. Emma started crying from her crib in the other room, as if she could feel the world cracking apart around her. Sarah looked at me with more hair than I'd ever seen in her eyes. Go get daughter. I can't look at right now. I brought Emma back to the kitchen, bouncing her gently while Sarah stared at her laptop screen. When I sat back down, Sarah was crying silently. How long? She'd asked without looking. Sarah. How long have been cheating on me? 3 months. She flinched like I'd hit her. Since Christmas. It started at the company party. The party where I stayed home with Emma because she was sick. The party where came home 2 hours late and told me we're helping clean. I nodded miserably. Do love her? The question caught me off guard. Did I love Rebecca? Or did I just love how she made me feel about? I don't know. Wrong answer. Sarah's face crumpled completely. Destroyed our family for someone we're not even sure love. It wasn't about love. It was about what, David? What was so important that a wife and daughter? How could I explain it without sounding like a selfish child? How could I tell her that I'd been so broken by my parents' betrayal that I'd let another woman build me back, even if it meant tearing down everything else? She made me feel important. Sarah stared at me like I was a stranger. Important. Felt important. Don't understand what it's been like. Finding out about Marcus, about the college fund. Feeling like I've never been good enough for anyone. So decided to prove it by being a cheating husband and an absent father. She was right. God, she was so right. I messed, Sarah. I know I messed. But we can fix this. No, she's wiping her eyes. We can't leave. I'll end it with her. I'll quit my job. We can go to counseling. I'm taking Emma to my sister's tonight. When I come back tomorrow, I want gone. Sarah, please. Don't do this. She's my daughter too. Daughter. Sarah laughed bitterly. When was the last time gave her a bath? When was the last time got with her at night? When was the last time spent more than 10 minutes with her without checking phone? I couldn't answer because we both knew the truth. I'd been so consumed with feeling sorry for, so wrapped in my affair, that I'd become a ghost in my own home. I've been gone for months, David. I'm just making it official. She packed a bag for her and Emma while I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the Valentine's dinner getting cold. 20 minutes later they were gone. The house felt like a tomb. I called Rebecca, told her Sarah had found out that I was getting divorced, that maybe we could finally be together without hiding. She was quiet for a long time. David, I think misunderstood what this was. Those words, I think misunderstood what this was. What do you mean? I mean, this was fun, but I'm not looking for anything serious. Especially not with someone who just left his wife and baby. But I said a lot of things. Or married. This was supposed to stay casual. 3 months of destroying my marriage and it was casual to her. I thought cared about me. But David, come on. Did really think I wanted to be a stepmom to infant? I'm 24. I want to travel, have fun, date people without baggage. Baggage. My daughter was baggage. So that's it, or done. I think it's best if we keep things professional at work from now on. She hung. I sat in my empty house, surrounded by all the things Sarah and I had built together, and realized I traded everything real for something that was never real at all. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. My lawyer will be in touch. That was it. 24 hours after my world exploded, I was alone, unemployed. I couldn't face seeing Rebecca every day, and facing a custody battle with a woman who had every right to me. The next morning I drove to my parents' house. I don't know what I expected. Support. Some acknowledgement that their favoritism had contributed to this mess. My mother answered the door in her bathrobe, looking surprised to see me. David, what are you doing here so early? Sarah left me. Her face changed. Oh honey, come in, come in. What happened? I sat in their living room, the same room where Aunt Linda had dropped the college fund 4 months earlier, and told my mother everything. The affair, the discovery, the divorce. She listened without interrupting, her face getting more and more concerned. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Well, she finally said, this is quite a mess I've made. Not, how can we help? Just acknowledgement that I'd year as usual. I know I messed Mom. But I've been so angry since Thanksgiving. Finding out about Marcus, about the money. Oh David, she sighed heavily. We're not gonna blame this on us. Made the choice to cheat, or a grown man. I'm not blaming. I'm just saying that learning I was never greatest investment, that never believed in me enough to give me the same chances gave Marcus. We did what we thought was best at the time. Marcus was academically gifted. We're different, I've done well for despite that. Not because of own hard work and determination, despite not being worth investing in. I destroyed a marriage, Mom, I lost my family. Yes, did. And now need to figure out how to live with that. No comfort, no sympathy. Just cold acknowledgement that I'd failed again, lived down to their expectations again. Dad came downstairs while we were talking. When Mom filled him in, his response was even worse. I'm disappointed in son. Sarah's a good woman. Emma deserves better than this. Emma deserves better than this. Even my father knew I wasn't good enough for my own daughter. I left their house feeling more alone than ever. The people who were supposed to love me unconditionally had written me off before I was out of high school. My wife rightfully hated me. My daughter would grow knowing her father had abandoned her for someone who'd never cared about him at all. 3 weeks later I moved into a studio apartment across town. The divorce papers came the next day. 6 months later, I have Emma every other weekend. Supervised visits only until the court decides I'm stable. Sarah's lawyer painted me as an unstable flight risk who'd abandoned his family for a younger woman. The judge looked at me like I was exactly the kind of man who'd never deserved a family in the first place. Maybe she was right. Rebecca quit her job 2 weeks after my world imploded. She moved to Portland with her new boyfriend, a guy she'd apparently been seeing the whole time she was sleeping with me. I found out through LinkedIn. 3 months of ruining my someone who was juggling multiple men and saw me as just another distraction. I was one of several, not even worth exclusivity in my own affair. The supervised visits are the worst part. Every other Saturday, I pick Emma from a community center where a court-appointed social worker watches me try to parent a toddler who barely remembers who I am. She cries when I hold her. She reaches for the social worker instead of me. She calls me man, instead of daddy. Last weekend, she took her first steps during our visit. Her first steps, and she walked toward the social worker instead of toward me. I tried to tell Sarah about it when I dropped Emma off, thinking maybe we could share this moment, maybe I could see some softness in her eyes again. She walked last month. Sarah said coldly. At home, where she actually lives. Of course she did. I'd missed it just like I'd missed everything else that mattered. Sarah looks good, healthy. She started therapy, joined a mom's group, went back to work part-time. She's building it without me, and she's better at it than ever was with her. How is she doing? I asked, watching Emma play with blocks in Sarah's living room. She's fine, happy. She sleeps through the night now. Does she? I couldn't finish the question. Does she ask about? No, David. She doesn't ask about. The words hit like they were meant to, and I deserved every one. Sarah, I know I don't have the right to ask, but is there any chance? No. She didn't even let me finish. There's no chance of anything. Made choice. I chose wrong. I know that now. Didn't choose wrong, David. Chose exactly what wanted in the moment. Chose over family. That's who are. She was right. When it mattered most, when I had to choose between momentary validation and my real, I chose. I chose feeling important over being important to the people who actually mattered. I tried reaching out to Marcus once, thinking maybe we could talk about growing in our parents' house. About feeling like we were in competition we never asked for. Maybe he'd understand why I'd been so angry, why I'd self-destructed so spectacularly. We met for coffee downtown. He looked uncomfortable the whole time. I never asked them to treat us differently, he said when I brought the college fund. I didn't know they hadn't saved anything for until Linda mentioned it at Thanksgiving. But knew they were paying for everything. Medical school apartment. Yeah, I knew that. But I thought they'd done the same for when we're younger. Maybe that was true. Maybe he really hadn't known. But then he said something that made it clear how he really saw me. Look, David, I'm sorry about what happened with Sarah and Emma. But can't blame Mom and Dad for cheating. Or 32. At some point have to take responsibility for own choices. There it was. Even my own brother saw me as someone who made excuses, who blamed others for his failures. Even the person who'd benefited from our parents' favoritism thought I was just whining about ancient history. I'm not blaming them for the affair. I'm just saying that finding out I was never worth investing in messed with my head. We're worth investing in, David. Just went a different direction. Not everyone needs college to be successful. Different direction. Like I'd chosen to struggle through school while working 3 jobs. Like I'd chosen to start my buried in debt while he got a free ride. Never mind, I said. Forget I brought it, David, I want to help. But seem so angry all the time. It's like a looking for someone to blame for problems. Maybe I was. Maybe that's all I'd ever been good at. Work is a nightmare. I had to take a job with a smaller construction company for less money. Word gets around in this industry, and everyone knows I'm the guy who blew his marriage for a fling with a young coworker. I'm the cautionary tale the older guys tell the younger ones. Don't end like Dave. I heard my supervisor tell a new hire last week. Had a good woman, beautiful kid, it all away for some girl who was just using him. Now look at him, now look at me. 33 years old, living in a studio apartment with a fold-out couch and a mini fridge. Seeing my daughter 4 days a month under supervision. Paying more in child support than I make. Working overtime just to afford rent and groceries. The worst part isn't the money or the loneliness. It's the knowledge that I did this too. That I had everything I actually needed in a way because I was too broken and selfish to appreciate it. Sarah started dating someone. Emma calls him Uncle Mike. He's a teacher divorced with 2 kids of his own. From what I can tell through my pathetic social media stalking, he's everything I never was, present stable. Someone who shows he took Emma to the zoo last month. Posted pictures of her laughing on the carousel, eating cotton candy, feeding ducks. She looked happier than I'd ever seen her. I stared at those pictures for hours, hating for being jealous of a man who was giving my daughter the attention I'd never bothered to give her when I had the chance. The custody evaluation is next month. The court-appointed psychologist wants to interview me about my emotional stability and my commitment to parenting. I've been practicing what to say, how to explain that I've learned from my mistakes, that I want to be a better father. But the truth is, I don't know if I deserve unsupervised time with Emma. I don't know if I've earned the right to be her father after spending the first year of her treating her like an obligation instead of a gift. I think about that Thanksgiving dinner a lot. About Aunt Linda's revelation. About learning I was never my parents' greatest investment. I used to think that explained everything. That their favoritism justified my choices, my anger, my affair. Now I realize it doesn't explain anything. It just reveals who I've always been, someone who takes the easy path, who makes excuses, who burns down his own and then looks around for someone else to blame. Marcus was their greatest investment because he earned it. He worked hard, made good choices, became someone they could be proud of. They didn't create his success, they recognized it and supported it. I was never their greatest investment because I never gave them a reason to believe in me. And when I finally had the chance to prove them wrong, when I had a woman who loved me and a daughter who needed me, I proved them right instead. Sarah was right that night when she found out about Rebecca. I didn't destroy our family for love. I destroyed it because I'm exactly who my parents always knew I was, someone who chooses the easy path, who runs when things get hard, who values feeling good over doing good. Emma will grow knowing her father was someone who abandoned her when she was too young to understand. She'll hear the story eventually, when she's old enough to wonder why daddy doesn't live with them anymore. She'll learn that when her father had to choose between his family and his ego, he chose his ego. Last week during our supervised visit, Emma was playing with toy blocks, builders and knocking them down. She looked at me and smiled, and for a moment, I thought maybe she remembered something. Maybe there was still a connection there. Man build to, she'd ask, offering me a block. Even in her kindness I wasn't daddy, I was just man. The stranger who shows every other weekend to play with her for 2 hours before disappearing again. I built a tower with her, and she clapped when it was finished. Then she knocked it down and laughed the way toddlers do. If only it were that easy. If only I could knock down the mess I've made and start over, build something better. But real doesn't work that way. The towers I've knocked down can't be rebuilt. The trust I've broken can't be repaired. The time I've lost with my daughter can't be recovered. I'm not writing this for sympathy or forgiveness. I'm writing this as a warning. If we're reading this and think spouse doesn't appreciate, if think deserve better, if think a little attention from someone else won't anything, I'm here to tell that are wrong. Don't deserve better than the people who chose to build a with. Deserve exactly what willing to sacrifice for, to show for every single day. I thought I was my parents' biggest disappointment, but I was wrong. I'm my own.